Five cons of living in Wichita, Kansas in 2025 is what we're going to be going over today. But before we get into all that, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all those fun things that help grow the channel and support local small businesses, the local community around Wichita, and all those good things. So this one isn't going to be real long because I'm not a real negative person, although there is key things you got to address and look at from an objective based standpoint. Like I'm not oblivious to some of the things that could be better about living in Wichita or aren't that great that you should consider when you're looking to move here on everything. So one of them is we don't really have any major league sports teams. The Kansas City Chiefs, Kansas City Royals are the closest thing that we have, which is like 3 hours away in Kansas City. It's technically in Missouri, not in Kansas. They're a great sports team. Just found out they're going to the Super Bowl, so that's awesome for a three-peat. So that's fun. So we watch a lot of sports, at bars and in our houses and that kind of a thing. And honestly, I'd probably say like house parties and garage parties are a big thing out here in the Midwest for watching sports. We play a lot of sports and watch a lot of sports just because we have kind of that hardworking, Midwest attitude. But there's no major league sports teams around here to personally go attend on everything. So that's one thing that if you want to live in Wichita, we don't have any major sports teams like that. But we do have the Wichita State Shockers, which is more of a college basketball team that's got a cool arena and that kind of deal. Number two, I'd say, is that it's not entirely walkable. We're starting to get better about this, but there's only so much city infrastructure and planning that you can change. So you'll definitely will need a car if you are a car person, or possibly two cars, multiple cars, that kind of thing. So it's a fairly spread out city, both in our urban downtown area and then also in our suburban areas. Lots of driving that we do to get to places, pretty much drive everywhere on everything. But the good thing about that is that everything's really close to drive. You just do drive a lot and you'll definitely need a car. Also with that note is there's a lot of road construction forever and always, which is good because we have good roads, but then we also always have road construction going on, whether that be Kellogg or a new bypass that we're putting it in, or just general road resurfacing that happens a lot. So even though we got higher taxes than a lot of the surrounding states of us, we have a lot of city maintenance and improvement that goes back in with those taxes. And depending on what school district you're in, we have pretty good schools for those taxes, but that's kind of a whole nother subject with that. And since it's not entirely walkable and you need a car a lot, we have a lot of drivers, but they're also very slow drivers, super safe drivers. So if there's road construction, they slow down. If there's a wreck, they slow down. If they're just merging, they slow down. It's constantly slow, slow, slow. Super safe drivers, almost to a point where it's like it's unsafe because they drive so slow and so hesitant, to where you'll be found driving the speed limit and under in our city, which is not like most other cities with everything. So that's number two. Number three is we don't really have major geography like mountains, like the beach. We got some rivers, one big cool river that runs through the city, the Arkansas River, or Arkansas, depending on how you debate and say that. It's a Wichita thing. But we do have some pretty awesome sunsets for our wide open skies and big rolling clouds that you can see for long ways, and really has a lot of light rays and things that aren't blocking that. So you do have some pretty vibrant, awesome sunsets that pictures and videos never do justice on. That is one thing that I am grateful for here, is some of the amazing sunrises, but usually more sunsets because I'm not exactly a morning person, so I don't usually get up and see the sunrises that come with that. So big open skies, we like to fly around in them, make really awesome sunsets you can see for a long ways, and we're the air capital of the world, so we fly a lot. And so if you get up high to see these sunsets too, whether in one of our buildings downtown or you fly in it, it's really cool to see how far those light rays can go and how vibrant and bright they are. Pretty magical and amazing. Number four, one of the cons of living in Wichita for 2025 is the fact that our house prices appreciated nearly 60% in the last 4 years. So although it is still very affordable compared to other places in the nation, our affordability is not like it used to be from the last 4 to 5 years. And I think that's a big shock for most people that are both from here and looking to move here. Is one of the things we have always touted and bragged about is how low our housing prices have been. And it's still low compared to the rest of the nation, but it's not as low as it used to be. And when you appreciate by 60% in the last 4 years, you can understand how much of a shock that is to not only people that live here, but also other people looking to move here. When one of the biggest things that's promoted and touted with here is the low prices that aren't quite so low as they used to be. So I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago, we're like $160,000 average price point city. Now we're more like a 260 to 275 average price point city. So you can see the drastic jump in house prices here. But in a lot of ways, it wasn't just the lower interest rates and all that came from COVID and some of those financial programs. It's the fact that Wichita real estate was undervalued for a long time, and then the word got out, and people were able to buy more, and they did with all that. So it's kind of a double whammy combo, both of those. So there's that. And number five, probably the funniest one that can be arguable and debatable, is that supposedly dating is terrible here. The environment isn't exactly set up for it, and they've done a lot of different studies and stats on this. And what they mean by that is that there isn't a whole lot of like nightlife or social clubs or outings or entertainment districts to go to meet people just socially, casually around the city on a regular basis, just based on the metrics that they pulled for like the establishments of how many places are to go do that compared to the people that live here. But one of the other funnier stats that goes with that is that it's one of the best places to live if you're single. So it's one of the best places to live if you're single, but one of the worst places to live if you date, if you want to date. And it's funny how those two stats, I think, kind of coincide, because I think so many single people can live and be fine here, have things to do, make it as far as like cost of rent or a house compared to what they make and everything else goes with it. So those two, I'm guessing, probably go hand in hand, that it's such a great place to be single in and make it still on your own and live a good life. But then also the dating is supposedly terrible because it's probably from all these strong, independent people who don't need anybody else, and not exactly having a scene that's conjunctive to that. We have a lot of, I'd say, family oriented things, community oriented things. I wouldn't say we have a ton of things that are real single oriented, unless you're just the type of person who is assured with themselves, who can go out and meet people, go to things on your own, get established in communities. But in some ways, I kind of feel like that's how it is anywhere you go with that. But according to the rankings, we're one of the worst places to date, but one of the best places to be single. Riddle me that one. So I guess you could call that a con of living in Wichita, depending on what you're looking for. You could also see that as a pro. I don't know. Depends on your personal situation. But those are the 5 things that I have that are cons for living in Wichita for 2025. I'm sure I got more, but that's plenty for you to get to know Wichita. Hopefully this is helpful and entertaining and educating all the same. If you want to check out other videos of Wichita, check out my channel, prowl around, see what else is out there. If you'd like any help personally with real estate, follow the link below. Leave me a message on my website, and we'll get to talking from there. And I look forward to talking to you soon. See ya.